This is a video on how to complete your club budget request form. Each academic year, the clubs must submit a form to request their budget, how much money they want to use for the academic year for events, for chapter dues, for apparel, t-shirts, sweatshirts, for trips. This is where you are going to go to complete that budget request. You will visit the club's website, our Google site, which gets emailed to all the clubs at the beginning of the academic year. If you need access to that website or you haven't received that email, you can email me directly. My name's Adrienne Victor. I'm the director for the Center for Student Involvement. So you'll just email Adrienne Victor at sunyorange.edu to get access to this website. Now, on this website, you'll see a budgets tab. So you're going to click that budgets tab and you'll see the link for this training video, as well as a budget request form and a budget request example. I'm going to show you what the budget request form looks like. When you click it, it's going to ask you to make a copy of the document so that you are not editing the original. You're going to click make a copy. And then you're going to see these instructions pop up. So these are just some guidelines and information that are important for all of the clubs to know to better understand how the club budget process works. So just read through the following guidelines carefully. We'll go over them now, and it's going to help make sure that your budget is processed in a timely manner and that your club receives whatever funding Senate is able to give you. Student Senate determines club funding based on several key factors to ensure fair and effective distribution of resources. Those resources come from the Student Activity Fund. Every year, students pay a small amount that goes toward all the clubs, organizations, events on campus, and Student Senate manages those funds. And that means that that amount changes every year because it's based on student enrollment. How many students do we have? How many students are paying that fee, that student activity fee? And then we also have to determine how many clubs we have. So if we have an increased number of clubs, that means that there's more clubs using that amount of money. If we have less clubs, then we obviously have lesser clubs using that amount of money. The more clubs we have, the harder it is to distribute those funds and give more money to each club. So that's something that Senate always has to take into account, that number of active and newly recognized clubs. They're also going to consider each club's individual allocation and actual budget usage from the previous year. So let's say you're a club that requested $5,000 in the previous academic year and you only used $500 of that budget. Senate's going to recognize that you did not use the amount of money requested, and therefore they are a little less likely to give you the amount that you're requesting for this academic year. When Senate allocates this budget, they are reserving that money aside during the academic year for that particular club. So if that club isn't using that money, then that's wasted funds. It would end up going into a reserve account, which is not necessarily something that we want to be piling up in funds. Student Senate wants to make sure that whatever funds we're giving out for that academic year are actually being used for that assigned academic year. So these are the things that they're accounting for when they are allocating money to these clubs. And they strive to allocate those funds equitably. They want to support growth and sustainability of student organizations. And in order to do so, we want to make sure that we're realistic. Senate is realistic about what they are saying you can request. It's not fair of Student Senate to say, well, you can request up to $20,000 and then they don't actually have that money to give to you. So clubs are able to request up to $8,000 for the academic year. That doesn't guarantee that the club is going to receive the full amount. It really depends on factors like the club size, the needs, past spending, like I talked about earlier. But $8,000, no matter what, is the absolute cap that you are allowed to request. There is no club that will receive over $8,000 based on the budget for the upcoming academic year. All right, so let's look at the club budget request form. So you'll see these tabs at the bottom. After the instructions, you can click on your club budget request. This is what it looks like. This is a blank form. So you're going to fill this out. Um, and I'm going to show you a sample budget now so that you know what it's going to look like when you're done. So here on the website, you'll see budget request example. I'm going to click this here. This is a mock budget that's already filled out. So here you'll see the item and category. You select the category that you think most aligns with what you're about to ask for. So if you're asking for club shirts, you're going to click apparel. You're going to write in here what you're asking for. So here we put club merch. And this isn't as specific as I'd like it to be. So we're going to actually write club hoodies. And then a description of this. You want to buy club merch so we can show our love and appreciation for our club, also to wear our shirts together when we go on school trips. And you would write that in here. You double click and you can start typing here and fill that in. Then you have the components or breakdown section. So here you're going to buy hoodies. You're going to write the hoodies there. And see here, actually, we have a slight issue. It doesn't line up. So we're going to copy that. We're going to fix it here. And then the number of items. You want to make sure that the number of items lines up with the components. So we want 25 items and they're $30 each. So you type in that $30. It's going to automatically populate that 750. It does the math for you. So let's say you were buying 5 shirts for $25 each. Over here, you can see that it is automatically calculating that $25 per shirt to $125. If you delete it, you delete this, no money shows up. And then we're going to go to the next section. So let's say you want to do a trip. You're going to put an individual trip in this box here. You're going to write the name of the trip. Let's say Six Flags. I made a mock budget here for engineering club. And you're going to write the different components here. So you want to rent a car. You'll put how many cars you need to rent, how much money that is. If you wanted to do 2 cars, you could put that there. It would come out to $680 instead of that $340. But we're going to go back to 1 car. Tickets, you're going to put here, you're going to put the amount and it will auto total at the bottom. Parking, gas for the enterprise car. If you wanted to include meals here, you would make a note there. So you could write lunch. You could put in, 20 people's worth of lunch and say $15 per person. And then that would total there as well. Don't forget to include your description, why that trip is relevant to your club mission. These are the kinds of things that Student Senate is going to look at when they are approving your budget and deciding what amount to allocate. Let's say you want to buy equipment. You want to do a bridge building competition. Maybe you are a computer club and you want to buy computer equipment. You're going to select equipment here. Describe what you're doing and write the items that you need. And again, the amount of items, the cost per item, and then it will total again. When we're talking about these categories, I do want to specify that we used to have a budget cap on each line. We're not doing that anymore. So let's say you're requesting $8,000 and you want to use $8,000 just for trips. Every single one of these could be trips for you if you like. But that's totally up to you. And then again, you're not guaranteed exactly what you're requesting. Senate still has to review and take all those factors into account that we considered earlier. So you'll see here there's multiple trips. So each trip should have its own section. Don't put 2 trips in one area. We have go-karting here. We have Six Flags up here. Separate boxes get separate trips. And be as specific as you can in the items that you're requesting. Campus-wide events here. So you can list everything for the events. And let's say like you're starting to run out of room. You can start to combine a couple of items. Like here, if you had to, you can write straws / paper / eggs, and you can put an estimation if you have to. That's only really if you're running out of space. But you should have enough room. As descriptive as you can be, as specific as you can be, Student Senate would appreciate. And then we have club only events here, so you can put those there if you just want like a pizza party. Make sure you're separating out your club only events. So you have a fall pizza party, you have a spring pizza party, specify that here. You can do them separately, but it may save you space to put all of your club only events here, fall pizza party, spring pizza party. And we have enough space here for you to fill in more. You may not need to fill everything in. But if you need more, you can always just copy the whole section and do another one. Simple as that. So I'm gonna undo that. But you should hopefully have enough space. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me directly or reach out to our Student Senate at clubs.studentsenate@sunyorange.edu. And then this is actually going to auto total how much you requested. And you're going to leave this number alone, this allocated number alone. So what's going to happen is you complete this budget. You're going to send this budget link to clubs.studentsenate@sunyorange.edu by the deadline that Student Senate has set. This deadline will be sent to you well in advance at the beginning of the semester. And then what Senate will do is review your budget. They're going to list what the allocation is for each area. So you'll find those here. And then this is going to be the new tracking system for budgets. So let's say you requested, let's see up here, you requested $750 for the apparel. Senate decides, well, we can't give you the full amount, but we're going to give you $600. They'll put that right here in this section, and then it will pop up here for your budget tracking. As you spend money, let's say you spend $150 on food. You'll see here that that's automatically subtracted, and then you have the amount left in this tracking line. So this is how you're going to be able to review how much money you have in your budget as you're spending it throughout the academic year. Again, you're not going to be filling this out. This comes directly from Student Senate and from the Center for Student Involvement. So we'll take care of your adjusting your budget accordingly, but you should still keep an eye on it because obviously there is room for human error. There are certainly clubs that have come back to me and said, hey, like this number isn't matching up with our records. And then I can easily go back and fix it. And that's pretty much it for how to submit your budget, the budget tracking process. You can find the deadlines for when budgets are due. It's going to be right on this homepage. There will be a calendar here, and it will tell you the deadlines for this budget submission process. And make sure that you title your club here. Just be careful about that because we don't want to receive a blank form, then we don't know what club submitted it. Usually we can find it because we'll see your email, we'll reach back out to you, but just make sure that you title it if you can. And that's really it for the training. If you ever have any questions, again, reach out to clubs.studentsenate@sunyorange.edu. You can reach out to Adrian Victor at sunyorange.edu, and we are here to help. We will do our best to get you through this budget process. And make sure that you go to Cult Night because we will review all this at Cult Night and answer any questions that you have.